Hey everyone, it's Liz. It's currently Sunday, May 11th, and it's Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to everyone out there. So today I decided that I was going to film how I prep for an upcoming week. And since it's the last day of the week, I thought that this would probably be, pretty fun. So I decided to switch my layout for my weekly section on the left-hand side of the page. And I did this for two reasons. One was because I wanted to kind of see how I could change up the layout and, see if I like it. So obviously we haven't started filling in any information yet, so I don't know. But yeah, I kind of want to see how this turns out. And then the other reason was I'm trying to find some different ways to reduce the bulk since I am using date stickers from Randy Dot Plans. So moving the stickers from the left hand side of the page into the right hand side of the page, I think will kind of help offset the bulk that I would get as I go later on, or like I go through later on in the planner. So we'll kind of see what happens, but I'm not 100% sure if this is something that I'm gonna like, but it kind of just it keeps the same format, but it just moves the dates over to the right hand side, so it's not that big of a jump. So you'll see this once I flip back to my weekly section for next week, but I decided to track work a little bit differently. So instead of having it attached to the weekly section on the left-hand side of the page, I made a separate tracker on the right-hand side of the page and did it to where I'd be able to draw lines based on how many hours I worked. So you guys can kind of see that a little bit towards the bottom of the right-hand side of the page, but I'm still kind of trying to figure out how I want to track my work hours, and I know I want to do it in my planner. So I'm just testing some new layouts and kind of just having a different layout every week until I find something that I really like doing. Now I'm using some dot stickers from Randy Dot Plans to just mark off the days where I have some pretty important events. And I'm really excited about this coming Sunday, like the 18th of May. I'm actually hosting a dinner party for my sister and her partner, and I kind of want to make that part of the page look a little bit brighter than like the minimalist vibes that I've been having lately. So I'm gonna do some thinking for the next couple days and figure out how I kind of want to decorate that part of the page. Now I'm opening my bullet journal to do a couple things to set up some of the pages that I haven't backlogged yet. I'm going to do a quick little flip through so you guys can kind of see the progress, and I'm really proud of it. So, yeah, I am honestly like backlogging very quickly. I think I have like 5 pages left to backlog in April. So that's really nice. And it's really great that it's so easy to just backlog, especially since I'm copying the pages from my 3 month bullet journal. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the process of kind of like reminiscing on the memories that I captured in those pages. I am also pretty excited that I can kind of see some of the bulk in my bullet journal now. I think mostly it's because I've tipped in, I think maybe 5 or 6 pages from my old bullet journal, but either way, like it's nice to kind of like be able to write on something that's a little less flat than a blank page. So now I'm grabbing my Trodat date stamp, and if you watched my last YouTube video, which was a plan and journal with me, I had mentioned that I was going to stop using my die cut date stickers from Daisy Papers, and instead of looking on like the internet and trying to kind of find something that fit my vibe for the most part, kind of like whimsical and like in cursive, I decided that since I already had this stamp, I was just going to test it out and see if it was something that I could move forward with. And honestly, it's been about a week, I want to say, and I really haven't had any problems with it. So I think I'm just going to stick with it. I think the only thing that I would probably look for is a date stamp that has the weekdays on it because this only has the actual like date. But I'm not really in a rush to kind of find that out. But yeah, we'll see if that's something that I eventually decide to purchase. So since I'm filming at my desk instead of my reading nook, I have like all of my supplies there. So thankfully I have sticky notes that I can kind of just paste to the page so that the stamp can just dry without transferring over to the other side. So that's why I'm putting sticky notes on each page that I stamp. So here I realized that I literally stamped the wrong date on the left page, and my brain is like freaking out right now because I literally don't know why I saw April 27th and was like, "Oh, let me stamp, April 27th," even though like it's on the right-hand side of the page. So I eventually go back and white it out and just restamp it. Um, so yeah, that was really tragic. I do want to say that I am honestly like really happy with the growth as far as like kind of getting away from perfectionism. Normally, I would just either like try to cover it up with like a sticker, which would kind of change the layout of the page, or I don't know, like rip out the page, paste something over it, something like that. Like it was bad. Like I feel like I would be traumatized if I would make a big mistake like that, but I don't know, like in my whole like bullet journaling experience, kind of like using this notebook, I really have kind of just leaned into the imperfections a little bit more than usual, and it's honestly been really refreshing and a lot less stress inducing. So this is a little flip through of May so far, and these 2 days are actually Saturday and Sunday of this coming week. So I'm just going in and completing the date stamps on these two pages. Um, I decided to also put in my today stickers from the Coffee Monsters Co. I had used them very heavily in my 3 month bullet journal, and I decided to kind of like recycle the stickers I put in there and pulled them out of those pages since I was no longer using it. And I decided to kind of just put them in here and see if this was an addition that I wanted to continue. As you saw in the flip through, I've already kind of put down some washi tape. I wanted to just use up some of my June subscription stickers from Heaven and Shep Girl, so I decided to put those in there, and we'll see how the page turns out once I get to those days. Right now, I'm kind of testing out how I want to paste these stickers. Well, one is a sticker, and one is actually the candle cover to the candle that's lit right now in this video. And I've had this candle for 6 months and I haven't used it. I don't know why. I think it's like because I just haven't felt the urge, or like I wanted it to be like a right time to use it. And for some reason today, I was really feeling like smelling lavender and rosemary. So I put that like candle wax cover thing in there. I don't really know what it's called, but I just wanted to kind of like save that memory. And it's one of the candles that I really love the smell of, and I got it from one of the local shops here in Tennessee. Now I'm pasting in a sticker on one of the soap packages that I got from my mom's salon. And I'm sorry, I just have to give her a shout out. One, because it's Mother's Day, two, because I love her, and three, I actually did break out a new soap. I chose the scent lavender today. So I wanted to save this sticker and put it in my journal. But I will put a screenshot of the front page of her shop online up here so you guys can kind of read what Doxa and the Doxa Gene is about. And then I will link her website in the description of my video in case you guys are interested in kind of being more in tune with your body and your skin and your hair. I haven't told my mom that I would be mentioning her website on my YouTube video today. It kind of just all fell into place since, like, first thing when I did my morning routine for hygiene, I opened a new like package of soap. So I don't know, like, I'm gonna wait to see when she watches it and see what she thinks. Now I'm just going in and adding some cute soap and soap bubble Satelier stickers from my, I guess, like bathroom sticker sheet that I have. And this is just kind of to make the sticker pop out a little bit more from the page. I think the only limitation that I give myself when it comes to sticking things into my bullet journal is it just doesn't need to be like something that's very thick to where if I turn the page, it would be really hard to write on. For the most part, I kind of just go with my urge, whether that's to put something in or not, and kind of just see how the page comes together. So, yesterday, and I think you guys briefly saw it in the flip through I did earlier, but my daughter was filling up our container, like our egg carton container, with the container that we got from the store. And they had these little recipe cards in to make protein pancakes. And she looked at me and asked me if I wanted to put one of the pieces of paper in my notebook. And I was like, yeah, sure. So maybe I'll flip back to that page and maybe use the recipe to make some protein pancakes for myself. During this video, I realized how much the scent of the candle was something that I could now smell in the pages of my bullet journal, which honestly was really nice. So I'm gonna see how long it lasts, but I hope it at least lasts for, I don't know, maybe the rest of the month. Like, we'll see, because it's been sitting on that candle for, like I said earlier, like 5 or 6 months. I think I'm going to probably take a pause in using my weather stickers for at least this coming week. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I think because of the new way that I've laid out the top portion of the page, I just don't like the weather stickers at the top because there would be a really weird gap in between the weather and then when the first entry started. I kind of want my first entry to be that very top portion of the page. So I think I'll do one of two things, either put the weather sticker in the first little micro entry on the left hand side of the page, or just take them out altogether and kind of see if I find a better way to incorporate it later on. I decided to use my Uniball 1 pen that's a 07, and I'm finding that it writes a little bit differently on the Leuchtturm paper, and I'm not 100% enjoying the writing experience. I'm not gonna knock it completely just because I really enjoy using my Uniball one in my personal journal, just because it writes a little bit more smoothly than my go-to Sharpie S Gel. But I don't know, I'm not liking how thin the pen strokes are in here versus my Sharpie S Gel. So I'm gonna keep trying it out for the remainder of this day and then probably tomorrow and see if I kind of like decide to go forward with it or just go back to my Sharpie S Gel, but I think I'm just really into the bolder pen strokes right now. And just so you guys know, I do prefer the 07 in my Sharpie S Gel and in my Uniball one, but like I mentioned earlier, the Uniball one just writes a lot skinnier than the Sharpie S Gel, so I'm kind of having some reservations about continuing to use it, even though it's such a smooth writing experience. So I think I'm just attached to my Sharpie S Gel at this time in my bullet journal, and then I really do like my Uniball one in my personal journal. I actually pulled out a few of my old journals from last year and was really just surprised at how I was like strictly an extra fine or extra extra fine when it came to pen tips or fountain pen. But for some reason, like this year, I've really heavily transitioned into more of a fine to medium type nib or pen tip. And I think that's just pretty cool to kind of see the transition over months and years. Now I'm just marking the page for April 13th, and I plan to copy that in later on today, but I kind of just wanted to put that in my bullet journal for safekeeping for right now. Now I'm grabbing my personal journal, and this is an A5 dot grid Hemlock and Oak notebook. And I kind of just I had it on my shelf, and I am realizing that I really don't like to take out my overflow journal once I've kind of already written in it in the mornings. It's just not the type of layout that I would want for journaling, number one, but it's honestly perfect for just stream of consciousness first thing in the morning journaling. So I think that instead of kind of using that for stream of consciousness and overflow journaling, I'm just going to have that as the first thing that I write in the mornings and kind of just brain dump. And then this is going to be what I use for my overflow and just personal, like more thoughts and feelings oriented more than anything. And I find that I do kind of write more than a page in here. So I haven't tried to fit in a specific amount of months or days in here. I'm kind of just taking it as I go and seeing where I end up by the end of it. I think I'm really attached to the layout that I have in my bullet journal, and I think that's what I really enjoy doing, just having that portion on the left-hand side for kind of like little blurbs that don't really need more than just a few lines to kind of write about, and then just having the more longer form journaling on the right-hand side of the page. So I think I just wanted that to be in my personal journal as well. And at least for this portion, it's not necessarily too private. So I will do my best to film, just to like still film this notebook, at least me journaling in it, so that you guys can kind of see the progression. But there are going to be some portions of the page or entire pages where they have like a little bit more of a private thought. So I don't necessarily want to show that on camera. One thing that I'm noticing in this as well is because of the thickness of the hemlock and oak paper, my Sharpie S gel does not glide as easily as it would in my Leuchtturm. And that kind of bothers me because I think I might switch to my Uniball 1 in this paper or in this notebook and then have my Sharpie S gel in my bullet journal. Just because when I first started writing in this, I used my Uniball one and it was really smooth to write in and I really liked it, especially when I want to write like pretty quickly and just get one of my thoughts out. So I think after this entry, I'm probably only going to use, well, I won't say only because then I get like the vibe to like use a different pen later on, but I think I'm going to switch back to using my Uniball one in here just because it's a little bit more of a smoother writing experience. I don't think I'm the only one that's kind of doing some forward thinking on how their system could potentially change for next year. And because I've gotten so heavy into using Hemlock and Oak products, I really have been thinking, what if my bullet journal for next year was a Hemlock and Oak dot grid notebook? And I looked on their website to kind of like see if this was even something that I should write down as 2026 plans. And I don't think that I've found a notebook that would be able to fit an entire year unless I used their like undated daily or something like that. So I did end up purchasing their limited edition. Like it's pre-ordered, but I decided that I was going to purchase the 70 GSM combined weekly and daily planner. And I know that's about to be a super chunky book, which I love, but I'm not 100% sure if I want the same notebook for my vertical weeklies as well as my dailies. And then I am a little bit reserved when it comes to using the layout of the Hemlock and Oak dailies because it's grid instead of dot grid. And there are a couple portions on the page that I wouldn't necessarily see myself using. Granted, I could kind of use them in a different way, but one, I think the left hand side of the page where you could kind of time block is a little bit too large for me. And then there's just the spacing of like the 4.2 grid, like versus dot grid. It just looks a little bit different. So I'm not 100% sure if that's something that I'm going to be able to stick with. But I did purchase it, one, because it is undated, and I do want to test out and see if that's something that I would be interested in doing for 2026. Now I'm just using a little cup sticker from Randy Dot Plans, and this is just to basically be a reminder to get some Earl Grey tea after I finish the voiceover to this video. I feel like my voice is getting like a little scratchy, so I also just, I don't know, I love to drink tea in the morning, so I'm gonna do that definitely after I upload this video to my channel. So this is really the last like journaling portion of this video for today. I think I'm getting a little bit more comfortable writing on camera, and I think eventually, maybe sometime in the coming week or 2 weeks, I will do an evening journaling routine where you guys can kind of see how I fill out an entire page. I did originally record one about a week and a half ago, but I decided not to post that one because my head kind of kept getting into the camera. So yeah, we kind of just scrapped that one. So I'm really loving the way that my calendar for May is looking right now, and I'm crossing off one of my wish list purchases, or like my sticker maintenance purchases. I actually did purchase from the Coffee Monsters Co. a couple days ago, so I can check that off. And now I'm kind of just updating some of my trackers and my running log on my current week. I will eventually go back in and fill in some of today's stuff, but since it's pretty early in the morning, I don't really have anything to write on that last portion of the left-hand side of the page. So now I'm about to go in and update my backlogging tracker, or like copying April pages tracker. And I really have gotten quite far. I think I only have 5 more pages left to copy in. And I'm super happy to almost be done with this whole process. So yeah, this is the end of the video. And if you're still watching, thank you so much for joining. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. Bye.